customary fashion.
Hey, hey, hey,
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, hello. Tonight is Wednesday. So that means another episode of Real Talk with K and J. I am K, aka Kat.
hey. I am Jay, aka the dog.
He's trying to multitask, y'all. So it's gonna
Uh,
be some moments might be a little awkward. He trying to do some work as well. So come on in the room. Come on in the room. Like I said, tonight is Wednesday, another episode of Real Talk with K and J. Tonight we're kind of gonna tackle this love language thing that we so often hear about. We talk about and in trying to figure out how to correctly love the people in your life. Knowing first of all, do you know what your love language is? And that is one of the things that in conversation with people in your life, to figure out what their love language is, because you can't love someone in your love language. I can't love him in my love language. I have to love him in his love language. Sometimes it can be very frustrating when you meet somebody or you're with somebody and you're trying to figure out, the right road to take, the things to do, what do they need to properly be loved? And sometimes we have to ask that question. What do you need? What does love look like for you? What is love to you? And how do I properly love you? Sometimes you just have to simply ask the question. And I've had conversations with people who are frustrated about trying to figure out. It's like, okay, I buy them everything, I buy them everything, I buy them everything, and they're not as excited about that as I would anticipate them being. And my response to that is, your love language is buying them things. Theirs may be something totally different. So how do you go about figuring out what is your love language and what is their love language? And sometimes it's like I said, it's those things that can make the road so much easier, so much smoother. I know there's the test that you can take to figure out what your love language is, or like I said, simply in conversations, ask questions. We're all about in conversation. You have to be intentional with the questions that you ask. You have to be ask the questions that you really want to know the answer to. And like I said, ask the question, how do you need to be loved? What does love look like to you? What does love feel like to you? And sometimes we'll be kind of surprised at the answers that we receive from the other person, or it could be whatever kind of relationship it is, even with family and friends, not just romantically. It's like, okay, we automatically assume that people need the things that we want them to need, or the things that we need, we think that other people need those as well. So sometimes it's simply in conversation. Just ask the question so that it won't be so frustrating that you are spending money, trying to love somebody that only wants your time, or spending money, on somebody who wants, a hug. Some people's love language is physical touch. They'd rather you hug them, cuddle with them, all that is like at the top of their list. And there's, like I said, online you can take the quiz, and rank your love languages 1 through 5. What's the most important to you? And sometimes it's a combination. It can be a combination. I need quality time, and in that quality time, physical touch is like, like they're like 1 and 1A, like in school. 1 and 1A is quality time and physical touch. But it can be very frustrating if you're trying to love somebody the way you want to be loved, but that's not the way that they receive love.
So I'm sorry, I'm on two Zooms at the same time, and I gotta be on this one. So I think what's key to this is to really understand that the word that the love language, you should be really focused on your partner's love language. And your partner should be focused on your love language. If those things work out right and you are focusing in the right direction, then that makes it easier for you to become aware of how things work and how people give words of affirmation, or how people give gifts, and what is the priority. Some people don't get moved by gifts. Some people needs words of affirmation, aka some support. Some people needs acts of service. Quality time seems to be always up there. So we need to make sure that we're doing all we can to understand you as an individual, but also understand the person that you are, with, whether that be marriage, courting, dating, or whatever this is, to understand that language, because you have to have that. It definitely makes it easier to understand how to communicate with your significant other, the person that you're with, or why there's a lack of communication. Um, AKA, some people say sometimes it's just that he doesn't care or she doesn't care. It's not that. That is not the high on their priority list. So Trina will talk about some of the words of affirmation. I'm going to have to step out for a minute, and I will step back in here shortly.
Okay, here we are. Trying to do two things at one time, but here we are. Like I said, I did we took the test together, and ours was almost identical. The two at the bottom kind of differed, well, they were in a different order. But definitely my love language is definitely quality time. Quality time. I rather spend my time with you than anything else. Just give me, the moment in the space with you, whether it's home, whether it's traveling, whether it's whatever. Just give me you. Simply give me you. Then the rest, I think the rest of the things they come. Physical touch, definitely. That's hey, that's something that they need to know. Like I said, the people that we invite into our life, the people that we spend our time with, there are some things that they need to know, and I think that lessens the strife when someone knows. Like I said, I was talking to someone. I was talking to someone. Like I said, he said I buy her everything, but that doesn't move her. She's not excited about me spending money on whatever I spend it on. And like I said, I simply asked him, do you know if that is her love language or is that your love language? I said, are you excited when she buys you things? He said, yes. I said, well, that's your love language, not hers. Hers, and in conversations we talked about 2-3 times about it. I said, that's something that you need to know. You're frustrated trying to love her the way that you want to be loved. And that's not how she necessarily receives your love. And in that, he found out, I was like, quality time, physical touch. He was like, yeah. I'm like, have you tried to book, make reservations somewhere, go on a trip just to be with her without buying her anything? And he was like, no. I was like, okay, try that. If her love language is quality time, then that means that she just wants to be with you. She just wants you. She doesn't want, the elaborate gifts that we sometimes equate to showing love. It's like if he buys you the most expensive things, oh, he loves me. That's the way he loves, but that's not necessarily the way I want to be loved. Like I said, mine is quality time. Our getaways, our vacations, our weekend flights, our whatever. That's my thing. I feel the most loved when it's just me and you, or when we are somewhere doing something that we both want to do, or something that you've planned for me to just be with me. Then that's my thing. I'm excited about that. But like I said, it's easy to excuse me, it's easy to want them to want what you want, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what they need. And love, we know love encompasses a lot of things.
That's so true.
Hey, and it's one of those things that can be it can be super frustrating for you to do all the things that you think. It's like, I'm showing you, I'm showing you, I'm showing you, but that's not what they need. Like I said, they maybe all they want you to do is hold them. A lot of people miss affection. They just, after a long day, after a busy day, you tackle the world, you conquer the world, and you come home or whatever. Hey, and
Hey,
you
Lord.
come home or whatever, you just want somebody to hold you. You just want somebody to give you a hug.
Hey.
You just want somebody to, like I said, just give you a hug, somebody to just hold you, or, you just want somebody to tell you that it's going to be okay. And then you feel safe and secure. Like I said, I want my love I want to, in me being loved, I always want to feel that I'm safe. I always want to feel that I'm protected. And I get that from a hug, from a kiss on the forehead, from just let me know that I'm safe. After I've tackled the world, let me know that I'm safe. Like I said, and mine is quality time. Just say, come here, sit down next to me. Let's talk. Come on, let's go take a ride in the car. Just me and you, but love me the way that I need to be loved, not the way that you think or you want me to want it from you.
And it's as different as this sound, this creates it minimizes a lot of confusion. It minimizes a lot of arguments. You know, when men buy things, we want them to be just as excited as we are. That may not be what excites the individual, right? Um, Gifts is not always on the top of everybody's list. Some people do like quality time. Some people do like words of affirmation. Some people do want just physical touch. So you have to really look at these. Um, we have to look at these love languages, and we have to figure out exactly what it is that these five love languages talk about and what is important. That's a good exercise for a partnership, is to sit down and talk about those. Because me, I had not paid love languages any attention until I just kept hearing people talk about it and decided probably less than a month ago to have a conversation. Um, so being true to yourself is being true to yourself. But loving another person or loving the person that you're with, it's great when you can show it and also understand that love. That is a big deal. It's especially great to when it comes to point of view minimizing those arguments and disagreements. Um, if we can look at it from other standpoints, and we can say, hey, maybe I'm spending money that I don't have to spend. Um, Maybe I'm doing things that I don't have to do. And the urge to impress someone. Maybe I'm not impressing them, right? I think I'm going all out by buying some perfume. And here you are, perfume was on the last of your list. You don't really care about perfume or the gift. You care about something else, right? Maybe the perfume is not what you want as much as going out to a quiet dinner and spending that quality time. So understand what these five are: the words of affirmation, your physical traits, physical touch, that is, your gifts, your acts of service, and your quality time. Find out what the other person wants out of those five and rank those, and that will make your kind of your journey through life and courtship, dating, and marriage significantly better. And then also realize what you value too, because what you value is very important. Because then you're able to communicate with that with your significant other, person that you're dating. But you ain't got to go out here and try to buy me cologne because you're wasting your time, because you're probably not going to buy me cologne that I don't have. 200 and something bottles, right? But it may be quality time, or it may just be again, taking a ride or having a dinner. Acts of service. How can you lighten my load, right? So those are things that are very, very, very important when we talk about the words of affirmation and how to communicate with your significant other, and to be successful in.
It is. It's one of those. It's a exercise. It's like I said, it's one of those things that you can do together. We actually did it sitting side by side because, like you said, he wasn't interested in hearing. He wasn't I'm not gonna say interested in it, but like you said, we really never had the conversation until we kept hearing other people talk about it. And then was like, okay, let's do this thing, let's do this little test and see where we rank, where we rank ourselves or whatever. And like I said, and when we took the test, our languages were almost identical, but we had the not necessarily issues, but the thing of me not being as excited about some things as he thought I should be. And it was just that was not the thing to impress me. That was not the thing to, get me excited. And then after that, we had some conversations around, okay, this is what means the most to me. These are the things that I like. And as we always say in every episode, you must have a conversation if it's something going on, or if it's something that you want to avoid, or if it's something that you want somebody else to know. You must have the conversations. And that was one of the things that it was one of those, like, okay, you're not as excited about this as I thought you would be, but I was excited about it. And then that was one of the things, like I said, that led to the conversations, like, okay, let's just visit this. Even, love languages is not the be all of love. There's so much more that goes into love, but it's very important to know what is important to someone else. Like I said, not always what I want for you, or or whatever I think you need, or whatever I think you want, because I'm giving you what I will want, and that may not necessarily be what you want. So it's not the all encompassing of love, but it's very important. Like I said, it can minimize, just tension. It can minimize an argument. It can minimize a disagreement, or it can minimize you having your feelings hurt by thinking that you are doing all that you can do to show them that you love them, and they're not receiving it in the manner that you think they would. But it's a simple conversation. It's one of those things, like I said, it's a very, very, very good tool to have in your in the dating scene. In the Some things you just need to know up front. Like you say, we can go out and buy, we can go out and do, we can we can give you. Some people don't necessarily care about what you can give them. They care about how you make them feel. Like I'm sure you've heard people say people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So it's in that, how do I make you feel the way that you need to feel for you to understand that I love you. So let me figure it out. Let me take these 5 minutes to have this conversation with you, or let me take this 5 minutes to do this little test with you, so we can sit down and talk to each other about this is what we need. And it makes things so much easier. Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just important. It's important to work to have something that is smooth, that has less confusion. Um, it does a lot when it comes to understanding why people are not motivated or don't react in the way that you think they should. Uh, you know, I love conversation. We got that. We need to talk about everything, right? That's important for me. I need to have an understanding. My favorite saying is make it make sense, right? It has to make sense. Things just don't happen and we don't know anything about it. We have to be able to deal with what we're dealing with. And the best way we can do it is kind of understanding how we can show or display our love to the person that we're trying to do. Um, that's the best part about it, is once we kind of had our conversation that was probably long overdue, there were some things, we were like, oh, okay. And for those of you who are wondering if you're with the right person, you may find out that your love languages are equally yoked, or they are kind of in the same order. And that's why some things are smooth, or you find out that your 1 and 5 may be flipped, and that's why you're concerned, and that's why you can say, "Oh, that's why we can't get along when this happens," or that's why when I go out there and wash the car, which is my act of service because I want to make sure your car is clean. Then you're not all excited, but I just spent 2 hours out there cleaning this car because the joke is what a man says it is. When the lady gets to the clean car, she will find every rut to run through to mess it up and put dirt and mud all on the car. So those are things that you can kind of mitigate through understanding your love languages and having those conversations about that. Why are men so scared to make a move? Well, part of that is because we don't understand exactly what you're looking for, and because we have not had that conversation. And sometimes it's not really up to the man to make the move, right? Sometimes in this, you have to say what you want. We said it before, sis, speak into your existence what you're looking for. And if you have spoken that, most men then have a decision to make. Either I'm going to be down or I'm going to be out. Me, I'm going to be both down and out. But I'm just saying, it happens that way. And there is some uncertainty to how to communicate that. So that's why we say make sure that we're having those meaningful conversations, those intentional conversations around what it is that I'm looking for, what it is that I need, and how to make this last longer, or how also to not waste my time because maybe there's no future. As they say, bro, ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way that I'm going to keep wasting my time. Well, that's because we have not had meaningful conversations. And yes, letting your feelings out is scary, not from a man to a woman, from a woman to man. Letting people know your feelings is just a scary thing altogether because it puts us in a place of vulnerability because then people can play on our feelings. So sometimes you don't really put it out there up front. They're not feelings when you put it out there up front. Those are requirements and expectations. But when you have a relationship and you have started and you're in this relationship and you done already, done the do and sealed the deal and, did the bedroom boom and all of that, then you want to have a conversation. I'm vulnerable at that point because I've done all of this. And now what was good or not good, depending on who you are, what was good to me, I have to now start to tell people about my feelings. That takes time. But if you start to nurture that in the beginning of the relationship by having those conversations that are intentional, the word tough is just a word. Be intentional about the conversations. State what it is, right? Me and Mz B said, I'm a whole Libra. I come with a whole lot of packages. I come with a whole lot of requirements. I got checklists for days, right? I'm going to tell you that up front. It ain't easy. But if we get to that point and you can understand that, and she can digest and swallow and be like, what am I getting myself into? Go ahead and take a couple of days to figure that thing out. Because when you come back to me and you say, yes, I'm willing to move forward, then that's what I'm standing on, is that you're willing to move forward. But we have had those conversations before, and we know where we're going and whither we're traveling. And we're going to do that together, and we're going to be better for it.
But it's that everything is all about a conversation. A conversation, it simply makes things easy. Like I said, make it make sense. Make it make sense to me, or make it make sense to you. So when we both have made it make sense, then we can understand if we're going to continue with this, if this is worth my time, if it's wasting my time, is this the one, is this not the one? There's already so many uncertain things, especially in the dating world today. There are so many uncertainties. It's weird and it's funny to talk to single people, for me to talk to people who are looking to date, people who are dating. There's so many weird things that go on already, and if you aren't intentional in your conversations, then you potentially waste your time. You potentially allow somebody to waste your time, or you waste theirs. And there's so many things that could be avoided, and we know that a lot of that starts with knowing who you are, knowing exactly what you want and what you don't want. What are you looking for? What will you allow? Because certain things only happen because we allow them to happen. So what will you allow? What will you not allow? What has crossed the line? So in that, know who you are. My thing is always never forget to do the work, to know who you are, to be able to stand up for you, and at any given moment you are allowed to say, no, this is not going to work for me, or I'm sorry, but this, or I'm not sorry, but this is, I'm done with this, and move on with your life. But we have to make sure that we are doing things for us, and in that, that is knowing how to love yourself. First of all, how do I need to love me? What do I need to show myself some love? Do I need to do some therapy, some counseling, some healing, some, I need whatever it is that I need. Not to Mexico, Lord. Not to Mexico. But what do I need to show? How do I show me love? I'm the person that shows everybody else how to love me. So if I'm not loving me properly, I'm not loving me correctly, I'm not giving my own self, I'm not giving myself I need quality time for me. I need that moment in the bubble bath with a glass of wine, with the music, or just in my room doing whatever it is that I like to do. I need that for me. So that's how I show me that I love me. So in turn, that shows him how to love me. But you are the first person to show people how to love you. And sometimes we don't always love ourselves correctly, because we will put ourselves last. We will do everything for everybody else and neglect ourselves. So in that, in the love language, love yourself in your love language, and then it won't be that hard to convey that to somebody else, that this is what I need, this is what I require, this is what I desire, this is what I want. It won't be that hard to convey that to somebody else when you give all of that to yourself. Like I always say, you should never not be a priority on your list, whatever that looks like in your life. So if that means letting some people go so you can move yourself up the list, if that means telling some people no so that you can take care of you and your needs and the things that you want to do. Sometimes it's as simple as telling people no. We don't have to go everywhere we're invited. We don't have to do everything we're invited to. We don't have to say yes to stuff that we don't want to say yes to. Say no for you. If that means, like I said, not doing the things that everybody else wants you to do, but you really don't want to do, say no and don't do it. Do something that makes you happy. Do some, self love on yourself. Sometimes we can get so caught up in the world. We can get so caught up in our job, in our other people, in everything else, that we neglect ourselves. So in that, take the time to learn to love who you are. If you need to however, take the little test, figure out, rank your 1 through 5, and say, hey, every day I'm going to spend a little time with me. Every day I'm going to tell myself something positive. Every day I'm going to do something for me. Not, maybe not every day, once a week, once a month, whatever that looks like for you. I'm going to do something for me. That's my act of service for me. My quality time for me. My if you like gifts, buy yourself something, save or whatever for that one thing that you really want, or the small, whatever it is, buy yourself something. It's those things that we have to love ourselves. And I mean, really, really love ourselves, because there are people who will take advantage of you not loving yourself. There are people who prey on people who don't love themselves. So it's easy for them to just, do whatever it is that they feel to for the moment. We give them the blueprint in the beginning. We tell them everything that we like. We tell them everything that we think we need. So we've given them the roadmap to play with us for a little while. But once all of that, goes away, then it's like, okay, how do you feel now? What do you really know about me? you don't know anything other than what I told you. That's all they paid attention to. So make sure you love yourself enough so that you can recognize that, okay, you're not really into this like I need you to be into this. But it's love on you. Then whoever comes around, whoever comes into your life, you show them how to love you. And if they can't love you the way that you love you in the way that you need to be loved, then that's not the person for you. Get together, bro.
I think the answer, too much going on. I think the interest is the key to this is, can the individual that you are involved in, can that individual show genuine interest and do things that you like to do? You know, that's a big deal. You know, you may not know how to bowl, but your girlfriend may be an avid bowler. Does that individual, gentleman caller, exhibit the wherewithal, as old folks say, to try to learn how to bowl, right? Because now we're starting to do a couple of things at that point. We're showing interest. We got some acts of service. We're spending some quality time. You know, probably might be a little physical touch in learning how to bowl too. So that person needs to show genuine interest in the things that you like. This is on a very small level. You know, it's not because you want to go out to Applebee's on date night. That's not showing interest, right? We need to have just a little more than that. You know, I like chicken wings. I like lemon pepper. He like lemon pepper. That is not the basis of why you should be talking to somebody, right? We need to figure out, where are you trying to go in life, and is that individual trying to go there too? All right, because that doesn't mean that you should be with that person, but you kind of like-minded, you kind of have goals, and you kind of extend that. So you know that maybe the end game may be the same. But if we have not had those conversations, we have not worked hard at it, and it's very hard, and it tells toward the end. We found out that we really didn't like the same things. Um, I like doing this, and he didn't. He turned into a homebody. I hear that one all the time. He turned into somebody who didn't want to do anything. He may not have wanted to do anything from the beginning, but he was trying to get to some point. Maybe it wasn't as sincere enough as what you needed. But those conversations we could have had, right? You know, Trina used to tell me all the time, now I don't sit still. I hit the road. We going somewhere. We traveling. If you don't want to do that, I don't have that kind of time. Right? Okay, that's cool. We can travel the world. I've been around the world several different places, but that's okay. That's still something that I don't know and have not been. So what I want you to do is pick those places that I haven't been, and we're gonna go there. Then when we get tired of that, I'll take you to some of the places that I've been, right? So I think it has to be a joint conversation. It has to be a real joint conversation around how these things work. How do you do the things that you need to do and you want to do? And does that individual want to do them as well? Because you don't want to feel like you're dragging a person along. Yes. You don't feel like you're pulling and you're tugging. This should be something that works together, which is why we said at the beginning, you should understand your love language, but also understand your mates, because that's where the twist and the pull comes from. Because we haven't taken time to do that. You don't know what motivates them. Words of affirmation. You know, they might not want to hold your hand at the mall. Physical touch. You know, that gift that you bought didn't excite them like you thought it was. Those are your gifts. Acts of service, keeping the car clean, vacuuming it out, or whatever that is that you do. And then quality time, right? Spending quality time. Can we do something together that does not require a bunch of people? Can we do something? Just me and you. Can we do something? And I leave that time and feel like, yep, that was time well spent. And that he got what I was trying to say, or she was getting what I was trying to say. And that we're okay in doing that. When you're asking men, to go back to that question, when you're asking men, because she said men, but I think, to be honest, when you're asking anybody to kind of open up and tell whatever it is that you want them to tell, there's two things there. A, why do you want them to tell you, and you didn't ask? So if it's that important that you need to know, then ask. And number two, He just may not be comfortable with you yet, right? We didn't say that this race was for the swift. We didn't say go 0 to 100. You know, I watched some last and said, I'm gonna be a girlfriend, but I ain't gonna be a girlfriend for 4 or 5 years. Hey, put your stamp on it and be clear about that when you start dating. But there is something that I say all the time, and that if you want to know something, ask. I can't read your mind and give you the answer. If you want to know something, ask. Put your big girl underwear on, put your big boy boxes on, and ask the question. That way we don't do it. I realize that make judgment on what they see. So I guess I'll just move on. Well, they may make some judgment. I mean, some people are that superficial. Some people are that shallow, right? Um, um, I've been on dates before, um, and everything was fine leading up to the date, but then the date just went to the left, and I was like, "Oh boy, I just wasted my time." And back then, I would probably say wasting my time and my blank money too, because we didn't have the right conversations. Now this is years past, and I've gotten a lot wiser, a lot more gray hair up there on top. So you kind of learn things. So I don't think that, and Laura, in that case, that everybody has to be pushed to the side. I just think that or go to Mexico. I just think that sometime before you send them on the flight, you might want to ask them some the last pre-boarding questions, right? Might just want to ask them some questions to be clear. And another thing in that of sending them to Mexico, I am a firm believer that you clear that up, right? If this is me sending you to Mexico, then go ahead and let them know you're sending them to Mexico, right? Go ahead and be honest and truthful and say, hey, this didn't work out. Whether you're comfortable doing it face to face or you gotta get home and you gotta do your last little call or your check-in, but make sure that you clear the air, right? Because that works both ways. He's still trying to pursue you, and that's not what you want. And then you're still having to deal with it. And number two is that you have not provided yourself closure to something that you got dangling. So the next man can't come in because you still trying to figure out how to deal with what you try to deal with that you try to let go.
It's definitely it's always the conversation. Like I said, that can get you answers, or it can get you some stuff some lies that you might need to decipher through. In the Laura, you got to have a whole lot of conversations, You got to ask a whole lot of questions. And some people, there are some that we know that will question you about questioning them instead of just, giving it some time. But like, we understand that everybody doesn't have time to waste, and they don't want to waste their time with a lot of, back and forth about something that you seem not to be getting the answer that you want from it, because ultimately it's getting the answer that you want. If it's not fitting for what you're looking for, if it's not like I said, checking your boxes or whatever, then you let it go and you move on. Sometimes we can find someone that we think is the one. One of my coworkers today, he was like, we were dating, things seemed to be going so well. We were, we had a lot in common, we enjoyed each other, whatever. And then after a period of time, she was like, I can't do this. This is not gonna work for me. Everything seemed to be fine to him, but obviously something along the way or whatever happened, she was no longer interested. So sometimes you can feel like you're wasting your time, but on the flip side of that, sometimes you can save yourself from a lot of hurt and heartache and pain that could potentially come down the line. Sometimes, like I've said, we ignore stuff. We ignore red flags. We ignore, the not getting what we want because we got an answer that was, it was satisfactory. So, we kind of just stopped asking the questions. We stopped being intentional with the conversations. We went back to the, what is your favorite color? What is your favorite food kind of questions, that stuff that we wanted to know when we were, back in the day. But now we have to be intentional with the stuff that we ask, because there's so much that we need to know. We know that people play games, people prey on people, people judge people, people take advantage of people. And you have to be strong within yourself. You have to know who you are and know what you want and know what you're willing to accept. And some things we just accept and we allow because of the moment, because we're vulnerable at the moment, or because we're lonely at the moment, or because whatever reason we just say, okay, let me just keep going with this. And that is what we should have sent to Mexico, Lord, is some of the stuff that we just keep moving forward with. But knowing, like I said, give yourself the things that you expect from somebody else. So we know sometimes you can ask, what up, Cliff?
What up, Cliff? Cliff?
Sometimes we ask people for things that we can't do for ourselves, or we ask people to be somebody that, like is like a fictional character. Sometimes it's like, is that really what you want? Is that really what you expect from somebody? Is that really what you expect for somebody, another human being to be? So we have to, like I said, yourself, know how to love you. And then it's so much easier to explain. Sometimes we have to explain ourselves, not only ask questions of somebody else. Sometimes we have to explain our own selves, like, okay, this is what I need. This is what I want. Like I said, this is what I desire. This is a must have for me. Some things I'm okay with, like, I'm cool with it, or I'm not cool with it, or it's okay if it is, or if it isn't. But there are some things that there's no debate on. And one of those is, the way I love me is the way I need for you to love me. And so, like I said, it was one of those things that we had the conversation about, because it was just like, I want you to be happy and I want you to know that I love you. But me doing this doesn't necessarily, I don't get that back from you. So what is it that I need to do? Ask those questions. Sometimes it can be a little weird, like, I love you. Yeah, I know what your mouth says, but I need to know that you're willing to do the things that I need to do other than what's coming out of your mouth.
So I think as we're getting deeper, and we're kind of really talking about how to communicate with your other. This is just another tool. Love languages is just another tool to put in your bag to be able to kind of understand the person that you are committing time to. And it's not easy. It's never easy when you're committing your time, right? Because the fail-safe statement is always, I could have been doing something else with my time, right? So again, that's where that conversation up front, to kind of lessen the time that you waste, right? And you're having those conversations, and they're committed to having those conversations back. Now we're moving. So okay, so I'll show the standards of getting involved with me by loving myself out loud. There you go.
That's
So
it. That's the key.
Laura, here's the Laura thing, right? Hey, these are the things I like. And if you don't like these things, and this is what I require, then I got to send you to Mexico. Right? That's a real statement. These are the things I like. Do you like those things? Do you want to partake in them? Because this is at a minimum of what I'm going to require.
Yeah. Minimum,
right?
Is knowing how to love you.
This is a minimum of how I'm going to require.
Minimum. It's like I said, it's not the all love. It's not that, this is not the basis of love for your relationship. It's a minimum. It's a tool to use to, like I said, lessen the feelings, to lessen the disagreements, to lessen the arguments. Is just simply knowing. It's one of those things that you keep in the back of your mind when you're making plans for your mate, or when you want to do something, like, okay, so in this, I need to include, make sure that we're going to spend some quality time together, to make sure that, that we're going to be able to be close to each other. It's just one of those things. Like me, I'm the planner of most of our trips or whatever. So on this trip, I need to definitely make sure that there are instances, or there are a lot of instances, where we're going to do these things, because that's what, that's our bond. That's how we, communicate with each other without saying anything, is walk up to each other, give them a hug, is to, like I said, just cuddle, to just hold your hand, to just, those are things that you do without saying anything. And that's how, I receive you, like, okay, you got me. you understand me. And I'm good with that. So it's something to know. Knowing the other person's love language is something good to know when it comes to, making plans, when it comes to, if you plan to, take it to the next level, if you're only, just getting to know them, or if exactly, is physical touch your love language? If that's your love language, then a hug is just like, okay, just give me that, just hold me, and then I know that you love me. I know that I'm safe. I know that, like I said, Cliff, you and Jay understand that women being protected thing. Mm-hmm. So it's knowing, it's just knowing your mate, being invested in that, like I said, that 5 minutes of knowing what is important to the other person. We automatically assume, especially in the dating world, we automatically assume that everybody wants to be bought things. Mm-hmm. Because we see it everywhere. Social media, reality TV, everywhere we see that you got to buy these big elaborate gifts to prove that you love somebody. That's not real. That's not true for everybody. We appreciate gifts, but that's not my priority. My priority is a hug. My priority is, you telling me that you support me, that you got me, that you're going to be there with me and for me. Those things mean the most to me. And that's how you show me that you love me. It's by me knowing that you're going to be there when and if I need you. You're going to be there to support me through whatever it is I'm going through or I decide to do. To know that, if we're somewhere, to know that we don't have to always have somebody else around to have a good time, that it can just be me and you, that I'm interested in the things that you're interested in. Like I said, I may not know how to shoot pool, but if you know how to shoot pool and you want to teach me, then, like you said, in that there can be some physical touch in the teaching me how to shoot pool. There can be, it's some quality time, just me and you together in us shooting the game of pool or whatever. But it's just knowing the things that your mate need from you, not necessarily what you think they want from you, but knowing what they need from you. And it makes things so much smoother. Sometimes it can, like I said, it can lessen the frustration of you always on the hunt for something that's not necessarily at the top of their list.
So I think, as we continue to kind of walk down these topics of communication, because we see that they're well needed. So I think that's something that we really got to focus on, is being able to say what you got to say, being able to do what you got to do, right? You got to say what you want. You got to say what you need. If you want to say this is what you deserve, then say this is what you deserve. So that that's what we need to do. We need to have those intentional conversations. This is a tool to help you have those intentional conversations before you fly your person off to Mexico. If the person does not fit, you must quit. I'm not watching the cooking show, but I'm with everyone else. It takes what it takes sometimes. Don't watch the cooking show, bro. It takes what it takes to get this done. It takes a lot to get this done. And every day is not the best day. Some days there are disagreements. But that's why you kind of are centered and at a core what your foundation in your relationship is like. Whether it's what you want or whether you know it's what you have. Again, communication and being intentional with it. Never let what you want and what you need be a question, right? Because that is something that's going to be important. Is what happens when you have not said what you desire or require. Then you're allowing the individual to give you what they want to give you. I don't know that they're giving you what they want. May not be giving you all they can, but they're giving you as much as they want to give you. And that may not be good. That may not be enough for you. That may be the one or the person that started out sounded good, worked out good. We talked, we met, we went somewhere, that turned out fine, and then all of a sudden you're like, but I'm still missing something. You could be missing that intentional conversation.
Or you could be missing the things that you didn't ask for. So you could be missing what you did, what you simply did not ask for. That's a heavy thing to allow somebody else to assume what you need, not what you want. People can give you some of the things that you want because they can see the things that you like or whatever. And they can give you some of the things that you want. But for to receive what you need, you can't expect somebody to give you what you need if they don't know what you need. You haven't given them any inclination of what you need. I need this in order to be love the way that I want to be loved, the way that I need to be loved. The only way that I desire to be loved is this. So sometimes it's in a conversation, like I said, and I'm gonna keep repeating, especially this year. My thing is be intentional in everything that you do and say. And if you are not intentional in your conversations, then you are leaving room for people to assume what you need or people to give you what they want you to have. And what somebody else wants you to have definitely is not always what you need or want. So we can't leave that space. We can't leave, that put that on them to give you the things that you need. If you need if I need some extra love, or if I need an extra hug, or if I need an extra whatever, it's like, okay, babe, I'm tired, I'm not feeling it, I just want to do this. Or if, in the beginning we had those conversations about, okay, this is not on the list, this is on the list. I can do this, I can't do that. I will do this, I won't do that. So it's in the intentional part of your conversation. It's the intentional part of you making what it is that you need known to somebody else. And we know that everybody can't meet your needs. Everybody won't meet your standards. Everybody won't be, but in that conversation, you can eliminate the people that won't, because there is somebody that will.
Yeah, there is. There is somebody that will. And again, I know that sounds like kind of opposite of what we're here to talk about, but we're also talking about not wasting your time and finding something that's meaningful, fruitful, and lasting, and not just wasting your time to do something. Um, and I think that's something that's very important. I've learned this from you. So we got to do what we got to do. You got to work hard at it. These conversations have to be intentional. Right. So, and then we have to continue to do the things that we need to do, to make sure that we're okay. You can't be in a relationship that's fruitful and great when you're not okay. Yeah, when you're not okay. So we want to make sure you're okay first. Um, One man's stress is another man's stress.
And that is true, Lord.
Everybody's not for everybody, right? You know, I had to learn the difference in how you say what you want from a person. Sometimes your time will get you nothing with me anyway. Be aggressive about it. And it takes that, right? We're gonna talk about some things later on about masculinity and masculine energy and masculine just stuff that sometimes I think through the struggles of being a woman and being independent, that some of those characteristics may have been over magnified at some point. And now it's not that people don't want to talk to you. That's not it. People just may not understand your delivery or may not understand the energy that you exude. But we'll talk about that. That'll be very interesting. We'll talk about that a little time.
It is like you said. Sometimes you can tell people what you need, and if they can't provide it, then they can't provide it. Like I said, we know that everybody is not for everybody, but there is somebody for everybody. Yes, Lori. There have been in being single and independent. Sometimes we tend to be a little strong, and at the point of meeting somebody, sometimes we have to figure out how to tone it. Look, tone it back, tone it down. But like I said, we'll talk about that probably next week. But in this, just love on you. Give yourself the things that you need. Give yourself the things that you deserve. Love yourself in a manner that you won't allow anybody else to love you less than. And make sure, like I said, there are people who immediately recognize people that don't love themselves, and they take advantage of that real fast, real fast. So love yourself in a manner that you will not let anyone else love you less than. And if you don't love you, there's no way possible for you to even attempt to show somebody else how to love you. So it's always self. Self is always first. It's never selfish to be about self, because you are the beginning of what you teach other people.
Learn to be each other's peace and peace. I love. Yes, yes. The peace and the peace. Yes, yes. Which do you want to be one or do you want to be both?
Absolutely.
And I know we're winding down, but we did talk about something. And for those of you who caught the show at the beginning, we have a new intro and outro for the show. That the intro debuted when we first came on. It's something that we have been working on or should have been working on for a while. Again, you have to have great people in your corner. Miss B kind of pushed us and kept pushing until we got this thing done.
We appreciate you. We love you. But my ending is always self. Everything starts with self. Self accountability, self love. Take responsibility for you. Take responsibility. Hold on, y'all. Take responsibility for you. And when you do that, you'll find that it's so much easier for you to, like I said, people won't give you less than you allow them to give. And if you love yourself in a manner that you won't even attract that energy. You won't even attract people who can't give you what you give to yourself. You won't even attract people who can't offer you the love that you desire. So you have to be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your physical being. Take care of things there. If there are issues that you have unresolved, take care of those. Forgive and move on. Let go of stuff, let go of people, just let go. And then you can begin to live in your true self. You can begin to be your true self. So take care of self. Like I said, love you, love you, love you, and never allow anybody to love you less than you love yourself. And in that, figure out if you're in, if you're dating, if you're in a relationship, you and your partner figure out each other's love language, and then you have the conversations around what it is that your love language is. So explain to them what that means to you. Explain to them what that looks like and feels like to you. And you do the same to them. And like I said, that'll avoid some conflict. That'll avoid some, feelings hurt. That'll avoid, it'll avoid some things. Knowing someone's love language is not the key to a fruitful, successful, whatever relationship, but it is a key. It is a tool to having that be successful for you in the future, or in whatever it is that you have going on with your mate, your partner, your husband, your wife, or whatever. Like I said, I think we were already married when we had the conversation. It was just one of those things that came up, and it felt like at some points we got lost in some things, and it was some things that we needed to know. So in closing, I definitely want to encourage everybody. This is two. We're in the second month of 2022. This is the year of being intentional in every single thing that you do, every conversation, every endeavor, everything that you do this year. Be intentional in it and about it. Have conversations, whether they're hard, whether it's, it causes you to lose that person, some people, whatever it is. Say what it is that you need for you. Say what it is that you need for your life to be easier, to be better, for you to continue to move forward in everything that you have set for your life. Be intentional in 2022. Like I said, the hour has come and gone. A little weird because Jay has a lot going on at the moment. We apologize for that, but he wanted to be on the live as well. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk with K and J. Like I said, next week we think we're gonna dive into some kind of heavy, topics, some conversation that we think is going to be very necessary and very beneficial to helping some people move forward and to getting a better understanding of some things that we've been having conversations with each other and with some other people about. So once again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk with K and J. I am Kay, aka Kat. The dog is dog is over there doing what the dog has to do. We thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.